We're not. You need to step away from this conversation. No, I'm just kidding. You can talk about the positives.
We'll get married in Vegas. We're going to Vegas.
No,
I'm joking.
I know you're joking because now I'm
No.
invited to the wedding. Girl, I'm gonna be right there like a little auntie. Like, come on, girl.
That's what we do.
Right there, like, yes.
Y'all, we met in a crazy way too.
It's not that bad.
It was so random.
Okay, so shout out to all the women who can tell me we go to the barbershop. Alright, like it's not about the length of the hair. It's about the lineup.
I know it's about the lineup. I had like the majority of my guy cousins, so I know you got the 2 on the top and a 0 on the side if you ever get sick or not.
Alright, y'all, welcome back to Woke Wednesdays. Welcome back to Woke Wednesdays. We do this every single Wednesday. We have a different topic every single week. Next week, we're talking about physical health. We have a bodybuilder on the show, and he's also applying to med school. So we're talking about a little bit of both. But tonight's violence against black women.
Is he taller than 6 feet? Because then we can talk about dating.
I think he's maybe 5'11". He might be single. I'll post a picture of him.
I was kidding. It was trying to.
You weren't.
It was. I think that's what the pose I was trying to. Y'all know what?
5'11" is close enough.
Black women always got jokes, and I told her. Yes, we do.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, welcome back. My name is Hurston Sanchez. I'm a second-year doctoral student here. Working on my PhD. I forgot to introduce myself last time. Working on my PhD here at Florida National University, and we have some amazing, brilliant, young, courageous, powerful, and strong black women on the panel. So if you could please reintroduce yourselves, tell people who you are. How do you identify racially and ethnically? Same kind of thing we did last time.
Cool. My name is Naima. I am a graduate student at FIU studying higher education administration. I am from the Bronx, New York. I moved down to Miami, 2 years ago? So.
I was kidding. So I was like, hey.
No, but I didn't call it yes, my friends know.
I stay perfect.
I identify as black. Ethnically, I identify as African American and Caribbean American.
Hi, my name is Imani, and I'm an undergraduate student here studying sociology, and I am.
That is beautiful.
It is.
I'm enjoying it, so thanks.
I wake you up too much.
You know, thank you. I appreciate it because most of the time when I say that, sociology makes people like, oh, what do you can do with that? And I'm like, we're figuring it out.
Whatever you, anytime they ask you that, whatever the hell I want.
Yeah,
right.
I don't owe you nothing.
We need to get that on a shirt, by the way.
Right.
My ancestors created everything, so I don't owe you anything.
That would be a phenomenal shirt.
Actually. Let's talk about this.
But I identify.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, I'm completely like, I'm here for the shirts. Can we like, we'll make a Google Docs and we'll just like have a shirt hashtag.
Y'all are here for the shirt. Put some hearts on here.
But yeah, I identify as a black woman, a very, very proud black woman. But ethnically I am Guyanese and Belizean. So yeah.
I'm Mariama Gregory. I was saying last names and stuff. Y'all wasn't doing that the first time. I'm like, I'm like, do I need to say my profession and stuff? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
what
also
do you do?
feeling
Come on,
the
what do you
wine
do?
now. I'm sweating. I'm like,
It's a natural highlight.
Thanks. Come on now. I'm a digital media strategist by day. By night, I slay. No, I'm just kidding. But ethnically, I'm black. Racially, I'm black. Exploring all of the diaspora because I unfortunately don't get to know what continent and country I came from, so I explore them all in hopes of just feeling as close to my roots as possible, respecting everyone's blackness, however it shows up, because I respect it, I love it, and I recognize that we are global people. And so it's best to know about y'all globally. Hey, black people.
Hello.
Okay.
Okay, my name is Andrea Adechea. Figure out how to spell that out. I actually got a
I see you. Okay.
But I graduated my master's in higher education administration from Dijon. I am a sipping wine.
I have friends that attend the
I am a case manager in child welfare, yes, the job is as crazy as the stereotypes depicted. And yeah, this is my second time on the Z panel because I identify as multiple things. I identify as black. On paper, racially, I'm biracial. I identify ethnically as Cuban and Dominican, or on paper, Cuban, Dominican, Jamaican, Curaçao, so Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean, Afro-Latino.
There you go. So thank you so much, all of y'all, for being on the show tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Everyone seems like they came back for part 2. So thank you so much, all y'all, for doing this. I know some people had to drive through tolls to be here. So,
Let's be clear.
I'm just thankful.
I'm glad you figured out my issue with my $8 worth of tolls that I have now.
I'm just thankful. I didn't want to put you out there. See, I don't ask people. I don't do that.
No, transparency is how we're all going to get through this.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here. So in the first part we talked about a lot of things, but I do want to get into the topic of relationships, because relationships. What do y'all think about relationships as black women?
Yikes.
And if you're not a black woman, and if you,
We got comments already?
people are clapping. People are getting hearts. If you're not a black woman, if you don't identify that way, even if you've dated a black woman,
Oh my goodness.
what are your thoughts? What was your experience dating a black woman? So
Actually, don't answer that if you've dated a black woman and it's not positive.
Yes,
Her man should be actually the only person that responds, because his response to her is amazing. Again, the one that hit me.
And see, I don't even know he's still back on.
he is. But
Because he supports you. He supports you.
Alright, I'm gonna calm down. I am here for love.
Amen.
I don't know what he identifies.
But no. Can we talk about the fact that I have
racially?
us here? So I got a button made of our feet. Shout out to Kel Shay because she made this button.
The hell?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Come on.
I try not to do hashtag relationship goals, but you might have just got me, sis. I'm trying to do my own
She's
damn
wearing it
goals,
on her jacket.
but you might have just got
You
me.
know, just casually on the butt. Wow.
I didn't even notice. It was like, I'm projecting my love on y'all.
Yes, but y'all
But
just
you
know.
also don't have to know it.
Yes, it's casual.
Goals.
So
Amen.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
These, I don't know how y'all will take these questions.
We're definitely ridiculous. He's like, oh, stop being ridiculous
But
now.
I'm gonna ask them anyways. So 3 questions. Number 1, what comes to mind when you think of dating someone? As a black, do you think of your blackness when you decide to date someone? That's number 1. The second question would be, would you date someone who is not black? Why or why not? How would your family feel about that? And number 3, do you think the hashtag relationship goals?
You giving us too many questions.
Okay, because I don't want. I'm gonna throw them out there and then we'll come back. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
Do you think the hashtag relationship goals, and I've seen a lot of videos of relationship goals, people asking people to marry each other, and it's become very commodified, very viral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that is a type of violence because you end up constantly comparing to
Your
something?
relationship.
So, those are my 3 questions. The first one was, how do you make sense of relationships when it comes to dating someone? Do you think of your blackness when you are going to date someone? Go. Whoever.
Go.
So
Shout out to the questions. Shout out to the host. Go ahead.
So I will admit that I've never dated outside of my race because for me those relationships are the most comfortable to me. That's all I know. I'm a big believer in chocolate love. And I want to have chocolate babies.
Amen.
So
Right there,
that's kind of where my thought process goes behind that. So
Violence is not letting you love who you want to love.
oh, that's real.
Wow. We're gonna come back.
Keep
We're gonna
talking.
But because I've dated black men, I never thought about my race and my racial identity until I got to Miami, or until other people bring it to my attention. So I'll never forget the time I was a freshman in high school and I was dating this guy, and he was a little lighter than me, just like a shade. And someone said to me, she was Hispanic.
Of course it was.
She was like, "Oh, he's like a cookie, and you're like a burnt cookie." And I was like, "Oh, like so there is a difference." Oh, you know what? I lied, y'all, because there was a big thing. I had this big thing as a child, like when I was in like kiddie relationships, like high school and stuff, where like I never dated anyone who was lighter than me. So there's so many things that come into play with that, especially colorism and like how that essentially affected my identity. So like in having this conversation, I'm thinking about more how my identity did relate, but in terms of like identifying as racially black, that didn't affect my relationships, or I didn't think about that, but definitely colorism did play a part. Miami, being in Miami is when I really was like, oh heck no. Miami, coming from up north to Miami, I felt like it was a dating desert. I'll never forget times I would be
desert.
How
did she find? Okay, come
no.
continue. I'm sorry.
Orlando. I'm in Orlando.
That's what I'm saying.
Sir, do you have brothers? Continue.
Continue, brothers. Okay.
Are they sick? Okay.
Yeah. What's up?
Good
I'm
number
kidding.
now.
You're not.
I'm like laughing.
You open this door.
I'm sorry. Continue. I'm so sorry, sis. I didn't interrupt you. I'm sorry.
It wasn't until I got to Miami that I started to really think about how race plays a part in dating. Because I was like, I'm coming to Miami. You know, all them girls Spanish in Miami. It's exotic. It's great. Like, this is like, my friends know it. The friends that commented, ATGSIM, all them girls Spanish in Miami. That was our thing when I found out I was moving here.
So many lies.
Yes, and then when I got here, I had a friend, and she would pass as white, but racially she was Costa Rican. I mean, ethnically she was Costa Rican. Makes a difference. Yes, she was Costa Rican. So we would go out all the time. I'm thinking, you know, we both about to be cute in the club, get us a little shawty, whatever. Until I realized that the people that looked like me were going toward her, and I was sitting there just holding the bag and the drink. So I was just like, hold up. And I definitely, even Jordan, Kathleen, you on there, I've had plenty of conversations with her, like, I feel like the ugly black girl in the club because here it is, this Hispanic girl, she getting all this attention, and here it is, my own black, you know, racially black individuals are ignoring me like I'm the ugly mule and giving this girl so much attention. So I was just like, okay, this is when I really started to see how complex race plays into dating.
It does.
It's really crazy. It wasn't until I found, no, I'm not talking about that.
But we're happy for you.
I'm sorry, I gotta be there. Joa said, but Naima bags them all up north.
Hey now! Come on! No! Hey now!
Check the button. The
Hey,
button
Maurice.
still says it all.
Yes, the
Check the button.
buttons. Yeah.
Maurice, she didn't mean it. Maurice, she didn't mean it.
She's happy where she's at.
I'm gonna take it
Come
on
on.
now.
Yo, he's
Come
gonna
on,
question every
with the
time we go home for the holidays now.
He ain't got to worry. He know where she at.
Exactly.
Black women stay
The
loyal.
button. Come on.
Ain't that our
What
biggest
you
issue
do
with
the
dating?
button?
Isn't that our biggest issue with dating? How loyal we are when we shouldn't be?
Hello.
How much we take when we shouldn't be, because our love is always based on how much shit we take, how many times we forgive, how many times we accept, all the drama we intake, how many extra kids you got. But don't you have no kids? Don't you have no lovers on the side? Don't you have no love interest? Let your phone be dry. That is actually the problem. So he actually has nothing to worry about, because black women stay loyal. He know where her heart lies.
We are right.
Ain't that the loyalty of a black woman? My God, you are blessed, sir. What you asked her, which I will keep between us, I hope she tells you whether it's today or tomorrow.
I said tonight.
Okay, wrap it up.
Alright, I'm sorry.
No, he's in Atlanta, y'all. We ain't even right now.
That's fine.
That's fine.
I support it.
You can drive to Atlanta.
Right. Come on.
I help you get there.
Tonight.
That's how much I support it.
It's on like a 10-hour drive. You be alright.
With my fucking
You be
text, I
alright.
still help you get there.
I cannot. I'm gonna go home. That's it. I'm wrapping it up for myself.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Let's end the show. I'm sorry. I have ruined it. I did not mean to do
You're not ruining anything.
Okay.
This is Black Girl Magic.
No, it really is. It
This
really
is-
is.
This
Okay,
is Black
ask the
Girl
question.
Magic.
Answer questions. I can talk about black love.
There are a lot of comments. Speak on it. Yes. A lot of essays.
No, you gotta do it right.
They got it. They got it. They
It's
got it.
more of an A.
They
It's more of an
got it.
A.
That's it.
Hey, y'all got it. Y'all got it.
But
Jason's giving you hand claps. Joa saying you are blessed, sir. I think talking about Maurice.
absolutely.
Tasha's saying don't let your reproductive system work like it's supposed to.
Whoa. Hold on now.
We went there.
Yeah.
Maurice saying my mom is watching. Yeah. So go ahead.
Girl, I'm glad I cussed in this segment. Go ahead.
I'm done. I will say that dating as a black woman has been an experience. I
Talk
would
about it.
say.
Would you more wine?
Sure,
Okay.
yeah, I'd love to.
You can do a little more.
My stomach is okay.
Okay.
I will say that I personally, regardless of the person's race or how they identify, I would never date anyone that did not, before meeting me or knowing me as a person, love black women. I'm not trying to convert nobody over to the black woman side. I don't got time for that.
Emotional labor.
Yeah,
Come on.
Violence against black women.
Go ahead.
Listen,
I
okay,
know.
a little tidbit about me
Yeah.
as a person, how I
Okay.
identify. I identify as a queer black woman. So, a queer black woman, so I personally love black women, and I have no intentions of loving a non-black woman ever in my life.
My God. Come on, girl.
So, in loving black women, I have the expectation that they are also loving black women. And I could not imagine loving someone outside of that scheme because I don't have time to teach anybody what it means to be a black woman.
Yeah.
So, since I don't have time for that, that's... Exactly. I know that when I interact with black women and I talk to black women or I've dated black women, I know that they come already to the table with that, a little bit of understanding of what is going on up in my world. They already know the hair issues, they already know the colorism issues, and I like dark skinned women, I'm not going to lie to you here. I do. I'm all out here for the chocolate shawties. Yes.
And Deanne, what's your act? Come on, somebody out here.
Listen,
Go ahead.
no, but
She just shot 20.
I do want to thank you for trusting. I guess trusting us as a safe space because you already know that being a queer black woman is a crime in this country.
Oh, so, girl, you don't have. Amen. It is. It's
but
hard.
in the countries in which your families are from, it's even more
so.
Where machismo is real.
Yes.
Thank you.
They still kill gay people in countries. Let's be real honest about that.
Amen.
Yeah.
So you're right.
It's like on some like, oh, we're not. I'm ever gonna, it's on some like, are we ever gonna be like this is gonna be my roommate when I'm 37. So like, just that's where we're at. It's just gonna be like
blackish.
But yeah, so that's how I date as a black woman because I just couldn't imagine. People ask me, oh, would you date a woman outside of your race? I don't know. Because if you come to the table with love and respect for black women, I could maybe consider it. But I just feel like I can't beat the love and respect that another black woman would have for me.
Yeah.
I just don't think I could find that anywhere else.
I need to prepare myself for that segment.
So you don't want to go?
No, I'll go after you. I do.
You've been setting it up. Go ahead.
No, I just love joking. I think humor is healing. It's my go-to. I'm being silly because there's a lot of pain behind dating. And so I joke because it makes me feel like getting through the process faster.
Amen.
I think just to be raw and real, I think dating has been hard because a lot of my dating experience has just been my own learning. There's never been someone to guide me in that process. There's never been anyone to tell me what a violent relationship looks like. And not just abuse, right? About how I was supposed to show up. Or there's never been anybody to tell me what toxic behavior that I display. I'm not perfect. I think there's this misconception that black women say things like men are trash, in which that's a whole nother conversation for me because I don't think people are disposable, which someone just pointed out to me. This is a new revelation. You are trash, right? But you're not disposable, right? I don't believe that as black people that we're disposable. But I do think that there are trash behaviors, right? I think that I have dated a lot of men who have displayed a lot of trash behavior, which is actually disposable, and we can figure out how to reform them. They would have been better partners. But as a woman who grew up with a lack of love that was just about me, not even about other people or witnessing it, just loving myself, it took me, I am 28 as of October. It is taking me 27. I am a Libra in full form.
Libra!
All the way Libra. It took me Aquarius. Miss Kathy, you still there? January 22nd. Witness my face. Okay. No, I'm kidding. But it took me a really long time up until I think think, last year to actually feel like a bad bitch. And I know people like to, there are going to be some comments about bad bitches, and I don't really care to hear about that. That's what I identify. That's how I feel about myself. All this and all of this and all of this and all these things in which I've been told to be unhappy in, right? My weight, my face. I'm an adult with acne-prone skin. I have breasts that don't fit in shirts. I have ass that don't fit in pants. I got teeth that are slightly crooked. I got eyes that don't glisten. Like, I just...
Your eyes glisten. Your eyes glisten. Stop it.
Right. They glistening right now.
My hair don't curl the way that the natural girl hair movement has moved.
Curls the way it's meant to.
Exactly. But it took me 27 years to get here.
Amen.
And there are continuously people in this life who try to tear all that confidence down.
Amen.
And it took me so long to get here. We don't like to talk about depression when it comes to dating. We don't like to talk about suicide when it comes to depression. We don't like to talk about the violence that feels very silent when it comes to dating. And so I am joking because there's a lot of pain when it comes to dating because I didn't know what that was. I think that I'd like to argue that I still don't know what that is. I think being in movement spaces where people talk about identities and being queer or LGBTQIA identified and being trans and all these things that talk about sex that made me just think about how I identify and my sexuality and dating differently, whether or not I be those things, right? I'm a heterosexual woman. I love penis. It is great. It has done wonderful things for me. But, talking about how other people date, right? Talking about how other women experience sexual behavior, talking about how liberating it feels to fuck whoever you want, whenever you want, however way you want, in the ways in which you want it is liberating. And I never knew what that was until last year.
Oh, damn.
I didn't know what that was. What I knew was that I liked men.
I'm kind of glad my parents ain't watching.
I'm sorry, parents. I'm sorry. Who was the mama? Mama. Mama. She's wonderful and wholesome. Okay, girl. Yeah. Me, on the other hand, I came to talk about it.
Oh, go ahead, talk about it.
So it is not to eat up your time. It is to say though that dating has been interesting. I have learned a lot about myself. This to me is the thing that is eating me up. I'm almost embarrassed, but like I went through 2 boyfriends in a year, which is unheard of for me. I am a serial dater, but like in years, right? Like I've had like 3-year relationships, 2-year relationships, they're all expansive. I went through 2 whole committed relationships in a year, and it has been mortifying for me. It's taught me about like how I share my relationships, whether that be publicly or not. One relationship was hella public, and one was like, we're gonna keep this one hella quiet. And just like, and it sucks, right? Because I'm learning all these things, and so learning curves are real. And to wrap it up, what we're talking about is centered around like Black women and the violence of that, right? And not being able to share my relationships, not because I don't want to, not because these moments were exciting or exhilarating or brought me happiness, but because I'm afraid of how people will refer to me in my life and how I deal sexually or not sexually, because you don't actually know what I'm doing in my bedroom. Change how I decide to share those moments. For example, I had a boyfriend who I thought this shit was it. Like, y'all couldn't tell me that this wasn't it. I loved his family. Yeah, he was 6 foot. Like, he was 6'4", let's be very clear. He was dark skinned. He had all his hair. God, he wasn't bald then. He had all his hair. He had a crooked smile that was just enough for me to let him know he wasn't too perfect. You know what I'm saying? He was brown skinned. He had a wonderful family. They were Jamaican. They fed me well. My God, I miss them. He had a beautiful daughter who adored me, who I adored. We shared life, you know what I mean, in moments. And I really thought this was it. And I went from that to dating someone who I wasn't like always hot about. Like, it was like very lukewarm, but I enjoyed his company. I enjoyed his time. And he did very sweet things for me that I couldn't share that I wanted to. I said I wanted to go horseback riding. This is an example. Never been horseback riding, always wanted to go. And he took me as a surprise. I didn't know. I had no idea until we literally rode up to the stables. And I felt ashamed to be able to share that because he wasn't the nigga that I had previously shared. It had nothing to do with him as a person. It had nothing to do with me. It was perception.
You don't want people to be like, oh, wow,
right?
You move on fast. Okay, baby.
Exactly. And to me, that's what violence is. We're talking about this narrative about violence against Black women. I just wanted to make sure I'm circling back to that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's violent, right? To not allow me as a human being to explore my life, dating or sexually or whatever it means to be me, to just share it. Isn't that what social media is for? Isn't that what those platforms are built for me to share those wonderful experiences? I had a great time. He was amazing. Our conversation was amazing. The weather was beautiful. The horse was nice. You know, I got along with the horse.
No, that is important.
It is important.
The horse is there.
And so, like, it reminds me of all the ways subtly that I have been forced to not love on myself and then love the relationships that I was in, because I was too worried about the violence around what that would look like, right? And so I think violence takes many different forms, particularly when women date, but especially when Black women date.
Amen.
Right? If I had shared 2 relationships in 1 year,
Ooh, child,
what would that have made me in dating, right? Because when we talk about dating racially, if I only date the Black people in Miami, it feels very small.
Yeah.
Amen.
It's a very small pool. And then when you think if I'm excluding actual people who have other identities and other ethnicities, if I'm not even talking about dating like Afro-Latinos, I'm talking about dating Black men, the pool even gets smaller. And so how much of my life am I sharing, which will bring shame upon me? Not upon either of the men who did harm.
Amen.
Not either of the men who actually took emotional labor. Not any of the men in which I helped build careers for, or spines against, or took their daughters out, or made sure that I went out of my way to build relationships with their mothers and families and brothers and sisters and all these things that took everything out of me, right? There's no conversation about that ever. It's always, what did you do to not keep your man? Which is violent as fuck, and that is what I do. So when I think of dating and date, I think of the things that I have to carry. Dating and date. Yeah. Don't take it though, because we're doing a podcast. Shout out to Shoppers and Side Eyes, which I'm a host of. Co-host. It's the things that I think of. I feel like I'm ranting and taking up way too much space and time, and I apologize for that.
They love you.
But there's just so many things that I think of, because I'm a wonderful woman and I come with crazy complexities, but I'm also very intelligent. You know, I believe in conflict resolution. I am not here to diminish your Blackness, your manness, your manhood. I don't believe in patriarchy, so I'm not here to tell you you need to take out the trash while I'm cooking aside. I feel like that's a dual responsibility. So, like, there's all these things that I feel like I contribute to a relationship, and yet I'm the woman who can't keep a man. But why am I the woman who can't keep a man, but you aren't a nigga who's stupid enough to lose me? That's never the conversation.
I like that. I want that on a shirt.
That's never the conversation.
We got a lot of shirts
2
coming
shirts,
out.
y'all.
We got a lot of shirts coming out.
Right?
Next year.
She said, I'm not. What'd she say?
I said, I'm not
the woman who can keep a man, but no one cares about the nigga who can't keep a woman.
You can't keep me. It's not that I couldn't be kept, because you couldn't keep me.
It's probably gonna be on YouTube.
Someone write this down, please. Someone write this down. Drop it in the comments.
On YouTube.
Someone drop this.
Y'all want to make a shirt about it? It's cool. Collect a cute coin. All I'm saying is these are the things that I feel like Black women deal with, but we don't get a space to talk about. And so that's me being very vulnerable and open, per usual, probably because of the wine. That's okay. It makes for a good conversation.
It does.
And I just think that's reality. And I love. I am here for all of it. I wish it nothing but blessing. I do not let my attempts at love to feel like failures or to make me bitter. I think there's someone for me, whether that be Black, blue, purple, orange. I prefer you to be 6 feet and chocolate, my God, and well built. If you can also lift all of this 206 pounds, that's also a part of the conversation. It is also okay for Black women to have preferences the way Black men get to suddenly have preferences and not be offensive. So since we like to talk about preferences, this is okay for you to discriminate against us in the club or out in public. Since it's actually okay for you to only like Hispanic women and vocalize that here in Miami. Since it's okay for you to only like white women because Black women got too much attitude.
Amen.
It is absolutely okay for me to turn around and say, I want you to only be 6'3", bomb built, no chest hair, full head of hair, pretty good teeth, and probably educated, right? Since we like to talk about preferences. Okay.
I couldn't even.
We gotta sign up for that. Clap, snap, all that.
Because we only like to talk about preferences when it's okay for men to talk about preferences.
Amen.
Black women don't get to have preferences because we gotta be grateful we even got them.
Ooh! Or if you do have preferences, oh, you being too picky, that's why you don't got no man.
Yeah. We're not on, man, because nobody likes us. Like, who is trying to out?
Right. No, I got preferences. I got standards.
Amen.
I'm a bad
Come on.
bitch.
Come on.
Holla at me, Cardi B. I'm trying to be on the next track. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to the bro. I don't rap. I'm kidding. I'm being ridiculous.
Oh, sorry.
Alright, I'm done. Talk about you, girl.
Come on, sis. What you gotta say?
So, Andrea,
I know. I went on a rant. I'm
no,
sorry.
you're good. So,
We liked it.
so
We
the
liked the
people
rant.
want to talk about preferences. Please go, and then we'll talk about preferences. So if you could go, are you
Come on.
No, we got
Okay.
Humor.
Okay, humor. So if you kind of talk about it and then go into preferences.
God.
In how I like what you were saying about you're not allowed to have preferences. So if you kind of talk about that, and if y'all could talk about it too, preferences that you have that sometimes you don't feel like you're allowed to have. So if y'all could just kind of drop that in the comments as
Oh my gosh.
Talk about it. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go completely left right now.
You mind going a little right though, so we get that straight. Okay.
There you go. Really nice. I'm happy to sit next to you.
Yeah.
A little closer.
It's the wine though. I don't want to get it too hot, but
That's word.
I think the only reason why that I'm gonna be this open is because of the wine. So thank you, Hersham. I have a completely, and it's usually what happens. I have a completely different experience. Being an Afro Latino in the county of Dade.
Dating and dating.
Has been dating and Dade has been the worst struggle of my life. Because I was born and raised here, so those kiddie relationships, those real relationships didn't happen. I even went through the whole, I have been a mistress, unfortunately, I have. Don't judge me. I'm young, lonely, and, needy. It happens. And, going through that situation where it's like, I know I can say that, especially my preference, going into preference, is completely different. I usually don't gravitate towards black men. I gravitate towards lighter skinned Latinos.
My fault.
Well, she was like, I'm in the running for
I
it.
Stop,
nigga.
I was holding out my hand because I was about to grab my glass. I gotta go.
Tell your story. First, it's not about you.
My fault.
It's always been, and it's a preference. It is a preference. People tell me all the time, and I tell them it took me, like you're talking about, this only happened, your bad bitch stage is kicking into last year. Mine started out 2 years ago, and it's like, I literally, was it filled in the well, because it's like, damn, I've never dated, I've had sex, I've never dated. Because people, I feel like it's really difficult being. No, listen. It feels real difficult being a black woman in Miami-Dade County because people will be like, oh, and I love it when it's like, oh, why are you still single? You're so smart. Like,
that's exactly how it sounds, actually.
What the hell?
Really?
And it's like, you are so smart. You're so talented.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And you
gotta
dance. And it's like,
beautiful.
and then when it comes from your family, it's like, why are you still single? And then what's it called? If you know LaJuan James, you guys should definitely watch it.
Oh, LaJuan James.
No. Going to the Christmas and Thanksgiving dinners, it's like, oh, but why are you single? Or you're not too feminine. You're not feminine enough. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, really? It's a struggle being a lifelong Miamian. I did spend 2.5 years outside of the county, so I know what being out of the city means. I know what being out of state means, and it's completely different. And people, and down here, the people, and oh my God, friend zoned. Holy shit! Getting friend zoned. Guys want to bitch and complain. It's like, nah, but y'all women tripping. They don't want, what's it called, a real dude. They don't want this and the other. And I'm like, my dude, you're afraid to be with a black woman, so you'll friend zone a real thing. Oof. Real quick. And it's just like, it's seriously the same over and over and over and over again. I'm just like, bruh, because your abuela says, no, black people we're not supposed to mesh with them. And then if you see a lot of the times, my Cuban counterparts, the women that they marry, they look like carbon copies of each other. And I'm sitting there just like, but what the hell? Like, what is wrong with being black?
Mm.
What is wrong with being a black woman? What is wrong with being a black woman who's a Latina in Miami? And it's like, I'm sitting here, I'm just like, yeah, you can introduce me to your grandparents. And then that's another thing. It's like, no, but I'm Hispanic, this and that. It's like, my dude, I probably speak better Spanish than you do.
My God.
And a lot of the times, that's really the case.
My God.
So I'm sitting there, I was like, I'm extremely aware of my identity. I'm extremely aware of my heritage. I'm extremely proud of my heritage. It took me a very long time to be like, oh, but, you know, maybe if I wasn't this big, if I wasn't to this and that. But I'm sitting there, I'm just like, no. The men I've encountered have been complete and utter douchebags. It's like, oh, you have big boobs, or damn, I've never been with a black girl before. You're my first. And I'm just like,
violence. That's
yeah.
violence. Actually.
So, and it's frustrating. It frustrates the hell out of me. But you know what? It took me a very long time to keep my standards where they are. I'm educated. I'm employed.
Amen.
And I speak multiple languages.
My God.
And it's like,
Hey,
I don't have to justify.
A catch. Come on, somebody.
But it's like,
wildest dreams. My God.
I don't. Before I would have to justify. I would have to justify myself to. Oh, but you know, maybe if I be a little bit feminine, I'm a fucking tomboy. Like I can spit out MLB stats and NFL stats better than most men can. So I'm not gonna apologize for it.
Somebody better catch it.
I'm
I'm not gonna apologize for it because I continue. It's like I'd rather be single than be in a failed marriage.
Amen.
I raised my standards for a reason. I raised my standards for a reason because I'm not going back. I'd rather be, alone and happy in the space that I'm in than being depressed and being with somebody who's like, oh, cook me dinner, this and that. So, motherfucker, if I'm gonna cook you dinner, it's because I want to, not because it's an expectation of me.
Amen.
So you have to do that with the machismo because guys inherit their family stuff and this and the other. And I'm like, bro, can I export from other states? Like, what's going on?
I think people inherit these fake ass things too because people are always like, you see these memes or just even statuses or conversations that you encounter with men who are always talking about like this best friend thing. I want a girl who's cool. You don't want a girl who's cool because if you wanted a girl who's cool, she'd be married by now.
Amen. Come on.
Because it's actually not about those things, right?
It's
a front. It's a front to pretend that you're more aware of patriarchy. It's to pretend that you understand what your toxic masculinity actually does to not only us, but it does as a reflection of your mother's son. You should be ashamed of yourself for putting women through this when you come from a woman whom in which you fight hand and tooth for, who anytime anyone says anything about, you are immediately angry. Where is that anger for us? For any woman who walks this earth, I will be someone's mother. Does my son or daughter have to kick your ass for you to realize that I also deserve that same type of respect?
Amen.
It is the same thing I said the last time. It's like when people have these arguments, and they perpetuate this bullshit. I'm always like, but your mama though. Your mama though. Y'all don't have what you said, right? It gets exhausting to have to always explain ourselves. It gets exhausting. It's violent. So that it's okay for me to have to overextend my knowledge and my vulnerability to tell you these stories. Why do I have to talk about pain at all for you to actually treat me with respect? Why do I have to tell you that I've been in failed relationships, that I've been abused, that things have happened to me? And these are not necessarily my stories. I just mean in general. Why do women always have to tell you these things? You're like, you know what? I'm gonna give you a little more because you a little more better than I thought you was gonna be.
Yeah.
Why can't you respect my humanness?
Off rip.
Right?
Amen.
I'm a human first. We have all these things because colonism and all the colonialism and all these things that said we need to have a race and an ethnicity and an identity to all these things, which are great. There's absolutely beauty and wonderful and knowing culture. It's something I hate that I don't know. I don't have a culture or a flag to wave.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And you wave it slay.
Slay. This is my flag now. There's no culture though, right? I mean, there's blackness, and blackness is great. Blackness is giving people a lot, and we don't talk about it. And that's also not okay, but I'm gonna let it be okay for this conversation. Because being African American has actually done a lot for a lot of folks.
Amen.
Right? There's a lot of people who lived in this country who will also sit at colored tables with us, but they're not in history books because white people wrote those books. But you talking about mind you, this is the 60s. People talking about their grandparents and their parents been here since the 50s. So where do you think your parents were eating They were not eating at the white restaurants. They were actually eating in the black restaurants. They were. Where people took them because they were colored. Why do you think it was called colored and not everything was named Negro? Because it's about being colored. It's about being other than white. Right? And these are the things that we don't talk about, which perpetuate violence. And to bring it back to even dating, right? These are the things we don't talk about when we socialize as like being acceptable, and none of this shit is acceptable. I don't owe you my pain. I don't owe you a story. I don't owe you an experience for you to treat me like a human.
I don't owe you my body.
Treat me like a human. Treat me how you'd want your mama to be treated, and I will always resonate with that. And then somebody last time had mentioned like, what if you ain't got no mama, but you came here, my nigga, so you got one. Whether or not she loved you, and I resonate with that. I don't have a mother who loved me. I don't have a mother who raised me to be anything other than. What she did was gave me air. She gave me looks. She gave me life. She gave me problematic skin. She gave me me.
She gave you
right?
She gave me a family.
But I have a mother. And so your mama, because how does that feel? And I just will never understand why people can't just see humanity, right? Yeah. Why do black women have to go anywhere and date and be like, damn, I look hella good, but I don't really want to go with my Spanish or Hispanic, which is a better term for, or Latina for a better, even better term, to go with them because niggas here don't know how to appreciate the value in a woman who looks like their mama. I will never get that. I look more closely to the mama that you have that gave you life and the grandmother who then gave your mama life or your daddy, depending on who you're closer to, than the woman that you feel like you need to uplift to diminish my existence. You can love your Hispanic woman. You can love a Latino. You can love a white. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do because it's not my business. Amen. What you will not do is diminish my blackness. Amen. What you will not do is diminish my womanhood. And I will never understand when dating why that is a part of the conversation. Amen. You don't have to diminish me to uplift the woman that you're attracted to. Just go date her.
Exactly.
I don't have to be you not dating me because black women have attitudes.
Black women are this.
Have you ever actually dated a Latina then? Because you really don't know. A Latina will cut you just as fast as a black woman would any day.
But the thing is, but the thing is though is somebody like J-Lo is exoticized.
Oh my God.
That's what I want. I want my long hair. I want big booty. I want this and the other. But I don't want. And it's like, yeah, she has an attitude. You could tell that she can hold her own. But then if you have somebody, but then I can't even tell you anybody else because there's always our daughters are exoticized as well.
All of
you have
us.
them. And the thing is though, it's as a black woman. And we're global. Black women are global. I'm not going to fit into that mold of, oh, why don't you like this? Why don't you like that? Why don't you like this? It's like, my dude, I am black. I was raised as a Latina. I am a black Latina. I am an Afro Latina. That is my culture. I'm not going to force myself to blend in if I don't want to. It's a choice that I made. My preference, I am allowed. It's a human right. Preferences are a human right. You can't tell me that this is my preference. You can't tell me, oh, but you gotta, and so it's something that I heard here, say you have to preserve the race. Says who? Fuck, if I want to have mixed babies, I want to have mixed babies. That's my choice. I'm not going to be like my ancestors. I have more choices than my ancestors. I don't have to fly on my back to have fucking babies. I want to do what I want to do, and that's the thing is, though, if I say this, oh damn, why are you so angry? That's like, my dude, because I have fucking choices. What is wrong with having a choice? What is wrong? Because you're afraid that we're gonna look smarter than you? Like, what's the wrong? Or you're gonna, and that's another thing with the patriarchy. It's like, yo, just because a black woman has a choice doesn't mean that she's denying, and that's what comes into feminism.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, if you a feminist, you hate men. Who the fuck says? What is wrong with being a strong black woman and standing up for what you believe in? Absolutely nothing, bro. And I see right here, it's like I appreciate your boyfriend because it's like, yo, he's saying to the world right now, this is my strong black woman. I don't give a fuck. Yo, yes, yes. So it's things like that. You're just like, bro, that's 1 in a million right there. That is 1 in a million right there. I appreciate you because the thing is, men are afraid. Men are afraid.
So.
That was a lot.
It's gonna take me a couple weeks to process. But I think it should though, right? If you can process all this in a couple hours, then you haven't processed it. Right?
Yeah, it has to hit you.
So I think these are things, especially as men, constantly listening to the stories and constantly trying to become better because we'll talk about. Okay, look, we have 13 minutes left.
Okay.
Jesus.
It's about to be like, yeah.
Wow. Quick.
Yeah. It's Woke Wednesdays. That's what we do.
It's never enough time to talk about black women.
Someone asked.
Amen.
You're right, and we should have a part 2 on this. Might not invite you back because I heard there's tolls on the way here.
And that came back to get me. My God.
Someone asked a question.
She learned the down streets now.
Someone
asked the back streets.
Someone asked a question, and I was hoping that everyone could kind of give it maybe one, or whoever, we can answer this in 4 minutes. Because I think it's a powerful question. Jasa was asking. Shout out to Jasa. She's been a guest on Woke Wednesdays. Talked about
Hey, best friends.
Talked about black hair. She was a great guest. Anyways, she asked, how did you all gain strength through all the violence and actually to get to that bad bitch phase? I think that's a powerful question. And Mario, we can start with you for a minute, please.
Why me?
Because
You said you're a bad bitch.
I am though. Hey,
Yeah.
man. Man, through a lot of trial and error, through a lot of pain, but damn, I don't know, girl. It just took a lot. I feel like it's still a lesson, right? Like, I feel like there are days where I don't actually feel like that, where I feel super, and again, black womanness and my black womanness is not wrapped in my looks, but I'm also a human being.
Yeah.
And I live in a country where we value looks, and so there are days where I just don't feel as attractive. I put on a whole ass Fenty face just to do this thing, right? I didn't come here hella natural. So like,
Girl,
Fenty is makeup. That's what we're
Come
honestly.
on, real quick.
I'm trying to like wrap it up in this minute. So I think being a bad bitch is a process, and I think the process is different per experience,
definitely.
per story. And I think that you go through that process understanding your end goal is to feel like a bad bitch.
Yeah.
And some days you're like, I'm hella close to this experience, and then some days you're like, I'm so far. And there are days where I wake up where I have to talk myself into worthiness. There are days that I have to talk myself into my value, into my worth, into my knowledge and my experience, and that I have to value those things because people will continuously diminish all of the things that I have accomplished thus far. I am dope, and it takes a lot to say that without feeling vain, because black women don't get to say that they're dope without being vain or thinking too highly of themselves. And so if I could say anything, it would be that it's a process, and the process depends on you and where you are. My experience is not like yours, right? My experience is not like anyone's here, right? I'm black. I'm hella fucking light skinned, you know, and I have to learn my place and my privilege in that shit. It's hella fucking diverse, right? I grew up in schools that had all types of people. I was only African American amongst my friends. I had African friends. I had Caribbean friends. I had friends who didn't know quite what they were because they were biracial. You know, I mean, not to say they didn't know, but the world didn't know, because we don't accept biracial people as just being them, because they're the other when really they're just them. And so all that played into me figuring out this place, and I think 27 years is not long enough. I have another 27 plus years to figure it out. I'm gonna be a different type of bad bitch.
Amen.
At 47.
Ooh, come on.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I look forward to looking her straight in her face and being like, bitch, we got here.
Amen.
One way or another, we got here.
Yes.
My end goal for being a bad bitch is to be the greatest thing that my ancestors have dreamed of. You know, I know someone died. Literally, someone's soul, spirit, physical body died just to dream of me, just to be like, if I could just be educated. I have a degree. If I could just be in love with my color, that I made it. If I could just be able to drive, if I could just have agency over my body, I made it. If I could just speak English clearly, I made it. And that's not going to be proud of necessarily all the time, but these are people who died dreaming of those things. If I could just read. There are people who died not knowing how to read, right? There are people who died not understanding what Africa was.
That's powerful.
Right? They were birthed into a nation who didn't talk about Africa. There are people who died who not understand that Christianity wasn't only the religion to have. Who didn't understand that God comes in many forms. Right? There are people who died not knowing that. And they died believing that they could see something different. And that's me. I'm here. I'm a blood vessel. Though that pain, that blood runs absolutely through me. And that resonates as a bad bitch to me, right? I'm bad for that shit. fucking amazing.
Like,
so you took all 4 minutes.
I'm sorry.
You're good. I love what you said, and Jason was saying, thank you so much. That is so powerful. And
right.
so we need a part 2 because there were comments that I did not get to. So I'm sorry for that.
I am so sorry.
No.
I got all into it.
Cosign.
I got all into it. I'm so sorry.
You definitely don't need to.
I hate being those people that eat up time.
No.
Like, shut up, sis. I'm sorry.
You valid though.
Right, you brought so much to the table that was
definitely
appreciated.
You did not.
I think Joa kind of sums up what I was trying to say. She says y'all are dynamic.
She said she left. She went to bed.
Okay. She said y'all are dynamic. Thank you for being authentic and sharing your truth. So that I can't say any better than her. So we have 7 minutes left until it's 6 minutes until we get kicked off. Can you just kind of give us some parting words? We're gonna have a part 2 to this. We need to. There shouldn't be parts to it, right?
Yeah, it's a continuous conversation.
It should be continuous. But unfortunately, we live in a world where there are tolls. So there are parts to this. And
Instagram kicks you off.
And Instagram kicks us off. So we have 5 minutes and literally 1 minute for each person. If you can just kind of give some parting words on if there's something that you could tell someone about being a black woman. And some of the comments here, I know they're not malicious. I know the way I read them, sometimes it seemed like they were fetishizing a little bit of what y'all were saying at times. Because the black woman gets fetishized, right?
Amen.
We need more parts to this. But if y'all could just kind of give us 1 minute, 60 seconds of some parting words.
Oh wow! So
You can just watch
okay, I'm this has been like being in grad school has been like a eye-opening experience for me. I've definitely been very pro-black, but grad school has awakened that. But I would just say for anyone who's watching, own your blackness. For black women who are not at that bad bitch stage,
Amen.
work to find that bad bitch stage. Know that you're gonna go through many bad bitch stages. I definitely went through one in college where I was more so the weaved up, makeup up, done up bad bitch, but now I'm more so I wear natural hair and I also wear a weave and I also wear a wig, but I'm also really intelligent. That's what's most important, and I'm about my business, bad bitch. So own your blackness and continue to find your inner bad bitch.
I like that. All right, that's good.
I just think that the experience of being a black woman is continual. Like you said, you're always growing into it. You're always becoming the next version of yourself. Being a black woman is loving, and it's loving yourself, and it's loving others, and it's being, strong, but knowing when to cry, knowing when to be weak, and encompassing all of that, because being a black woman is hard, but we can do it. And we're doing it. And like she said so many times, we're doing it for the people before us. We're doing it for our moms. We're doing it for our ancestors. And I'm so proud to be a black woman. I'm so grateful to be a black woman. I would never come back as anything else but a black woman. God is a black woman. Come on.
Amen.
Hear me, y'all. And the experience of being a black woman it's such a lesson, and I'm so grateful to be learning it. I'm so grateful to be around powerful and amazing black women. I meet black women every day that make me so inspired, that make me so grateful. You women, today I'm inspired, and I'm grateful to have been in your presence and to experience black women in our truth and our honesty, and experiencing us in our fullness and our wholeness and our vulnerability. And I wish that we could have more spaces to be black women. That's it.
What was the question again?
It's some parting words.
Parting words.
Yeah. 1 minute.
So keep it.
Oh,
For the black women who are actually identify as black women who are watching this, figure that shit out on your own, because no one else gives you the opportunity to do that. And so my parting words is to actually just enjoy being a black woman, and however that feels for you, because that's what we actually need, right? That our blackness is not determined by me or any of these panelists. It's not determined by textbooks or context that is given to us. It's actually about whatever the fuck you deem it to be, because you are a black woman, and therefore whatever you are is important. And I think I think it's complex, and I think it's beautiful, and it hurts, and it's raw, and it's undiscovered, right? Because being black is also undiscovered. Being a different type of black is undiscovered. Being my type of black is undiscovered. And being okay in my blackness is still something that people have to have these conversations about.
Amen.
The fact that we have to have a panel about violence against black women means that my blackness is undiscovered.
Amen.
And so my parting words is to discover that. Discover yourself so that you can be somebody's ancestor who also feels like you are their wildest dream. That they are your wildest dreams.
You need shirts for real.
Come on. You need a shirt company.
Shirts.
Come on.
I always
Just come
have to
up
go
with a
after
catch.
always. I guess the thought is African queen is not material, it's a state of mind.
Amen.
You really do
For sure.
have to
Right.
you do have to find it on your own, because you don't let anybody devaluate your experience. It's yours to own. I think I forgot, the actress from Orange is the New Black was talking about her name. It's like if they can learn how to say Tchaikovsky, they can learn how to say Ozamaka. It's yours. Your blackness is yours. It's what makes you beautiful. Don't ever let anybody say, oh my god, maybe you should lower your standards. It's like you should just, and if you need to say it, it's like maybe you should shut the fuck up.
Amen.
And so they can get out of your business. It's fine. It's yours. Keep it. It's valuable. It's everything in your life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
I can't say anything to. I ain't talking to them. I know it's just facts. So like, right, I hate when like white liberals get on this guilty pedestal type of shit. Can't stand it. So I'm not gonna do that as a male. Stand on this guilty male pedestal type of thing. I'm imperfect. I'm unlearning a lot of things. And these type of conversations help me unlearn, help me learn what things that I've never thought about before. So thanks so much for being courageous, being transparent, being open, being your truest selves, and thank you for speaking your truth. And thank you to all y'all for tuning in tonight. What a powerful show. I'm just very humbled by y'all's presence. And we're definitely going to have a part 2, maybe somewhere on Biscayne 90th. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hope to see y'all next week. Make sure to tune in.
No tolls available. I don't have a sun pass.
I don't have a sub pass and I have $500 in tolls.
They heard that.